Was the first time you saw Shawn after you left the WWE was the Hall of Fame, or did you ever have any run-ins?
No, it was at the 15th anniversary show.
That's right, 15th
2007.
anniversary.
It was crazy because I was with my ex at the time, who a lot of people know because he used to come everywhere with me.
Is that the police officer guy? Okay, yeah.
The abusive police officer.
Yes.
Which, when I start writing my second book, it's all about him. It's all about domestic violence and abuse because I went through hell, believe me. So we were driving up to, it was Bridgeport, Connecticut, I think. And we're driving up and I'm fine the whole way. And about 10 minutes away from the building, I'm like shaking. And he's like, what are you so nervous about? This is like nothing for you. He thought I was nervous about performing.
Right.
I wasn't nervous about going out there. I wasn't nervous about being in front of the crowd. That's nothing to me. I was nervous about seeing Shawn, but I couldn't tell him that. You know, he's driving and I'm sitting there like, oh God, I'm seeing Shawn for the first time since, forever. So I was really nervous. So I walk in, and the second I walk in the building, everybody who I haven't seen in so long, my makeup girl, producers, directors, everybody's happy to see me, giving me hugs, and it was like a nice welcoming. The whole office was happy. All the workers that I had already known, I was happy to see. People that I didn't know were coming up and introducing themselves, which was great. So I go onto the catering line. My boyfriend's in front of me on catering. He gets his plate. He goes and sits down at an empty table. I'm getting my plate. And you could feel somebody behind you, next to you or behind you, the presence. And then I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn, I'm nose to nose with Shawn.
He initiated it.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, because I didn't see him up till that point. So he walks up behind me on the catering line, taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, we're literally nose to nose. So of course, the hug. Oh my God, you look great. He's like, you look exactly the same. You haven't changed. You look amazing. I'm like, oh my God, so do you. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. Because his eyes are, and his hairline, and he's, he wasn't aging well.
Right.
But I still looked young. So he was like, you look exactly the same. You look amazing. I'm like, so do you. And I'm like, I'm such a liar. So the hug, and all that. So I get my plate. And I go sit down next to my boyfriend. So we're at this long table. I'm at the end. Well, not at the very end, but I'm at the end of the table. Boyfriend's sitting next to me. Table's empty. Who comes over next? Shawn sits right across from me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. This is not going to be good. Who comes over next? Nature Boy sits next to Shawn across from my boyfriend. So I'm like, okay, we can diffuse this because now my boyfriend's happy that Ric Flair is sitting across the table from him. So
and the boyfriend was kind of a mark, or was?
Well, no, he wasn't a mark, but he was a fan back in the day. Okay. So, but it's Ric Flair. Whether you're a fan or not, it's Ric Flair.
That sounds like the table to be at.
It's pretty cool. So he was just, now he's happy. At first he's pissed that Shawn sits down. Then he's happy that Flair sits down. So I'm like, okay, hopefully Flair and him will have a conversation so it'll diffuse everything. And then CM Punk comes down and sits at the very end of the table. So I'm like, okay, good. Between Punk and Nate, we can try to forget Shawn's right there in front of me.
Right.
But it was nice. Everybody was talking. Shawn showing pictures of his kids. It was a nice little lunch all together. And the boyfriend, his temper went from here and it kind of diffused down to here, so it was good.
I understand, and I don't want to get in. I don't want to give this guy any airtime because I've heard stories.
He doesn't deserve it.
I've heard stories, but was he that insecure that just Shawn, a past relationship, sat down and it bothered him that much?
He's a very controlling person.
Yeah, because that's pretty childlike.
6 years that I was with him, he was extremely controlling, extremely abusive. So yeah, he didn't have control of the situation. Shawn sits down in front of me. He's my ex, so right away he's losing control and he's like freaking out inside. Like I could see the fire burning inside of him. I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be hell later. You know what I mean? It's gonna be hell. But it turned out into a nice little lunch, so it was all good.
Okay, then the Hall of Fame is next. That's the next time
then WrestleMania 25. Okay, that was in 2009.
WrestleMania 25, and everything there goes pretty smooth.
Mm-hmm. Everything was great. All the girls were awesome. I worked in the ring with Victoria, Beth Phoenix, Maurice, the Bellas. I think that's all I had to do stuff with.
Did they pay you the respects? And
oh yeah, everybody was awesome. Everybody was really cool.
Okay.
Everybody's great. And it was nice. It was a nice little, I had lunch with all the girls. We all sat together. It was really nice.